It's time for a cup of coffee with Will and Chris at Slumberland Furniture. From Slumberland Furniture in Osage Beach, here are your hosts, William Holtz and Chris Schneider.
From Slumberland at the lake, it's time for another cup of coffee with Wild Will and Uncle Chris. And check out the new set we got.
Yeah, isn't this gorgeous? This is incredible.
It could be yours. It's the Friends and Family sale starting Friday through Monday. You're not going to want to miss that massive sale. All kinds of deals going on store-wide. And big shout out to Phil and Arvin and the crew here for putting together our new set. I don't want it to sell.
I don't either. Don't come and buy this because it looks so great behind us, man. It's awesome.
All right, so on this week's Cup of Coffee, we're going to talk about a couple of big upcoming events this weekend and early next week. Plus, did you see the movie trailer with Killers of the Flower Moon, the Scorsese film?
I did see that. Boy, talk about stars upon stars in that movie. It's amazing.
The new movie about the Osage Indian Nation, or the Osage Nation and their Indian tribe and what they went through with the oil down in Oklahoma. And of course, that spilled over here into Missouri. Major motion film off of a book, and they came out with a huge trailer. A lot of views on that thing. We're going to show it to you in this week's coffee. I was impressed with what I saw.
I tell you what, it was really violent, but apparently it's based on a true story and everything. Pretty sad that that's the case. But man, they had, like I say, big A-list superstars and a lot of them in this movie. So.
Yeah, DiCaprio, De Niro, and we'll talk about that lineup. All right, plus, what a weekend for football if you're a Missouri football fan.
Yeah, they win again, and your Bills actually won again too, so it was another good weekend for you.
Well, Camdenton wins big on Friday, Mizzou wins on Saturday, the Chiefs and the Bills win on Sunday. I didn't win in fantasy. Andrew beat me in fantasy.
I know, that's got to hurt. Hey, and it's still sun shining, so I got my sunglasses on. We're getting like an Indian summer here, right?
I love it. It was beautiful when we pulled in this morning. Plus, we're going to tell you about what I believe to be the largest home ever listed at Lake of the Ozarks, $17 million.
Wow, I'm surprised you haven't bought that yet.
Oh, yeah, you writing checks and handing out loans, Uncle C, or you going to continue to pinch pennies and hog it over there? I'm not able to buy a home like that, but I know there are people, and we're going to tell you about this listing that is unbelievable on this week's Cup of Coffee. But first, I told you about the Friends and Family sale coming up Friday through Monday, and of course, the fall home sale going on now here at Slumberland. To tell us more, my man, Daryl Cunningham.
Hey everybody, Daryl Cunningham with Slumberland Furniture at the Lake. This week is a special week here. We have our Customer Appreciation Sale going on. Once a year, 4 days only, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Deals so good you're gonna have to come check them out. There's even deals that some of our manufacturers won't even let us advertise. Come check us out, Slumberland Furniture, where we're bringing happy home.
All right, so make sure you stop by Slumberland at the lake, especially this weekend, that Friday through Monday, friends and family. It's nice to have friends and family, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is. And this is our go-to place. So Mrs. Uncle C and I were here this week. She's looking for like a new TV stand. This is the place to find it right here. So you got to come, check it out because they're greatness.
Mom and Dad just upgraded their sectional from here for football. It was football season.
Yep.
And, Dad, I think you're frugal. Dad is frugal. And he bought what I believe to be the nicest piece of furniture he's ever bought. And this thing reclines all the way across the board. It's big enough to seat the whole family, and each seat goes all the way back, and your legs kick up with these buttons on the side. It's killer, and they got that here.
So when you guys get together to watch the Bills, right, it's a kind of a family thing.
Oh, yeah.
Do you watch it your mom and dad's, or do they come over to your place, or do you kind of switch it around?
We alternate.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
And sometimes if it's late, we, by default, get the game in our house because of Brinley's nighttime routine. That's not compromisable, so we got to get her, through that. So we like to be at home for those. So if we know one of those is coming up, sometimes we'll do 2 at Mom and Dad's and then back-to-back weeks at ours, however it shakes out. But yeah, it's like 50-50 throughout the year.
There's more Bills fans out there than you realize. Mrs. Uncle C and I, we're taking a 4x4 ride through the coves and stuff the other day. And we saw several Buffalo Bills flags out there hanging, and we had to stop by and see if we needed to donate clothing or something to them. So
figured you might have seen Pastor Stephen and Lauren Crispin out there on the water. There's some Bills fans at church Sunday. I saw another. It's actually the guy that coaches our softball team. His 3 daughters all were wearing different teams' jerseys, and one of them is wearing a Dawson Knox Bills jersey, and they're from Wyoming, and so
Oh,
they
yeah,
love
there you
Josh
go.
Allen
Yep.
because of that. So they're big Bills fans now, which is cool. Yeah, you're seeing more of us come out of the woodworks, and it's not a bad time to be a Bills fan because after that start with the Jets, man, I was worried.
Yeah, they should have won that game, but they've won 2 big ones since then. They should be 3-0. I've noticed, though, a lot of the best teams in the league have already lost this year. I mean, this last weekend, Baltimore lost. I mean, there were some big upset losses last weekend.
Yeah, we'll tell you all about NFL, and we'll talk some high school and college. But first, I want to talk about a couple of upcoming events. The first one is next Tuesday. The reason we're telling you about this is a monthly event. It's called Give Back Tuesday at Shawnee Bluff Winery. And this one coming up is 11 to 7. They always do it. And here's what's different. A lot of businesses will do something where they donate a percentage of the proceeds or a percentage of the net sales. At Give Back Tuesday, Shawnee Bluff gives back 100% of sales. And this particular Tuesday, October 3rd, coming up, all sales go directly to Lake Regional's Health Foundation to support local cancer care. I love that, how Shawnee Bluff doesn't only give back, but they completely give back. They cover the cost of food, and they eat that big amount throughout the day and then write a check back to the organization. And again, there's going to be food, drinks, live music, and that's from 11 to 7 on Tuesday, October 3rd. Pretty cool, and one of the many ways that the Shawnee Bluff family of wineries and establishments gives back in a massive way.
You know, and again, we say it almost every week on this show. That's what makes our community so special, is that we've got those people, like Shawnee Bluff but so many more of those people who do so much to raise money for charity to help people, in need around here. And it is needed, but this community is special that way.
Yeah, it's incredible community. I'm just like, man, that's a big giveaway. I mean, hey, everything that's bought, food and drink wise, I'm eating the cost, and all of those sales go directly to the organization. So big shout out to Gail Griswold and her staff. And make sure you attend that. It's all day. So if you just stop by and do lunch early in the afternoon, or if you stop by for an early dinner, or before 7, every dollar spent on the event at the location that day, it goes directly to the Cancer with Lake Regional. So really cool. And then if you can't make that Tuesday and you're like, hey, you got a busy week but want to go this weekend, you can actually go to the Community Foundation's annual champagne campaign, which Unique and I are going to be attending. I know there's a lot of people there. For those of you that don't know, the Lake of the Ozarks Community Foundation, an amazing local group that allows businesses to maximize their giving, and every year they do their champagne campaign. This is their 15th annual event. Tickets are just $65, and it includes dinner, games, raffles, live and silent auction items. There's some big items too. There's wet steps. There's a half side of beef, which I'd be happy to win.
Me too. I'd take that, man. You betcha.
There's shadow box showcasing commemorative law enforcement patches, along with a .22 caliber American law enforcement rifle. There's also gonna be some Mizzou basketball tickets. Doors open at 4:30 Saturday, and it's at Shawnee Vineyard in Eldon,
Right.
So it's the sister location for Shawnee Bluff Winery, and that's where the Community Foundation event is at. Food, if you're wondering, I heard some of your favorite food is going to be there.
Yes, it is. It's the Galloways, right?
Yeah.
So we've got Papos and we've got Mamacitas. Oh, Lord, that's where you want to be right there.
Chris and I have done Wild Will and Uncle Chris Taste the Lake, both those venues. You can watch those if you haven't seen those. Great food, and this year's theme is Make Magic Happen. So they're going to have a magician there. Jerry Tritz will entertain guests, as well as DJ Justin Farrell. We know him.
Yep.
And then Rick Ball, who owns 5 Lake of the Ozarks boat dealerships, is the honorary chair this year. Now, this event, again, raises money for CFL's annual grant that helps Lake area nonprofits. And they distribute this money they raise throughout the year to 25 different nonprofits and organizations. And in 22, last year, $90,000 was distributed through this. And so their mission is to build educational, cultural, health, and economic development of the lake community, said CFL President Stacy Pirtle. We can be proud to live at the lake, and now we must, and I love this, we must engage and cultivate next generation donors through collaborative philanthropy and learning about community needs. And what she's saying is, hey, we are such a giving area, such a great community, but listen, we need to engage the younger generation and let them understand how big these nonprofits are and where that need is. So as we watch that next generation take over the business world and have families, they understand to get behind it. And so I love that mission. And we're familiar with Stacy Pirtle here on the set with Cup of Coffee. Of course, we do a lot with the Magic Dragon Trails, and her husband Jan kind of spearhead that with the Community Foundation. So going to be a great event, and in a sense, the Community Foundation's inception since '09, Chris, they have raised more than $600,000 and led to that amount in grants and fundraising to local charities, just a few. Wonderland Camp, Children's Learning Center, Lake Area Industry, CAD Kids Harbor, along countless others. And so this is one of those events you want to get behind. And I'll tell you what, we've had so much fun covering the Magic Dragon Trails, and that's just one of the many things that the Community Foundation gets behind.
They've given me a lot of joy because, like, that's where you wiped out on the bike and hurt yourself and stuff like that. But yeah, that's so neat. I mean, again, it's just such an amazing group of people in this community, but it's smart to try to teach the next generation, because you don't want that to die out with this generation. So that is very smart.
So again, the 15th annual Champagne campaign for the Community Foundation of Lake. This Saturday, doors open at 4:30 at the beautiful Shawnee Vineyard in Eldon. And then check out Tuesday, Give Back Tuesday at the winery in Lake Ozark from 11 to 7 p.m. So as we move ahead, I saw a really cool trailer, Killers of the Flower Moon, which is an interesting name, might leave you wondering what exactly is that about, but it's Martin Scorsese's new film, and it's set to hit theaters on October 20th. We're going to show you the trailer in just a minute, but a couple of things I wanted to say. Crazy stars, you said that in the tease. It stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro, and Lily Gladstone. And it says exclusively in theaters October 20th. But it's about the oil that brought a fortune to the Osage Nation, and they became some of the richest people in the world overnight. And then the Native Americans immediately attracted white interlopers who manipulated, extorted, and stole as much Osage money as they could before resorting to murder. So that just gives you a little tease, and buckle up, we're gonna let you get a look at this trailer.
Whose land is this? My land. Well, 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 our war hero has arrived. You made a good choice coming back here. Osage are the finest, wealthiest, and most beautiful people on God's earth. They outsmarted everybody. They have the say who gets the oil. Son, I got a question. You like women?
That's my weakness.
Well, we mix these families together, and that estate money flows the right direction. It'll come to us.
Shomikasi. That's how you are.
I don't know what you said, but it must have been Indian for handsome devil.
Why did you come here?
I work with my uncle.
You scared of him?
Oh, he's the nicest man in the world.
The Osage, their time is over. We got to take back control of our home. I was sent down from Washington, D.C. to see about these murders.
We have so many deaths, we've lost count.
There's just bad luck. Seems more like an epidemic than bad luck to me.
Osage is dying by the enemy. Do not let them die alone.
Evil surrounds my heart.
You gotta pick a side.
I don't even know if you love me anymore.
Of course I love you.
And kill these men who killed my family.
Did your wife say who she was most afraid of? Don't do something you're gonna regret for the rest of your life.
I ain't got nothing but regret.
Wow, that looks riveting. I'm pumped. I told you, Nick, we need to go see a movie. We haven't in a long time, and I think we're going to go see that. That looks awesome.
Yeah, it's something else. I'm just shocked at all of the big name stars they've got. Scorsese did it. So you've got DiCaprio, De Niro, Gladstone, and many, many, many more in here. I don't know. It's we're not really movie people anymore, Mrs. Uncle C and I. We don't really go out to the movies so much, but this is one that might go out and see. It might be interesting.
It's funny you say that. We're not really programming movie people. I probably haven't been in 3 years because most things are made for a streaming service, or an outlet, or we're series people. You can watch on demand. You can watch 2 or 3 episodes a night, and then you've got, much more waiting for you. I did want to mention, we said it in the tease, Andrew alluded to it. It's based on the best-selling book, David Graham's. Best-selling book, Killers of the Flower Moon. But there is some importance, as you notice, the Osage Nation working to reestablish a presence here in Missouri throughout the construction of casinos, namely a casino right here at Lake of the Ozarks. Now, the lake is the result of damming the Osage River, and the Osage Nation's footprint and history can be seen in imagery all over the region, including the mascot right here, our very own School of the Osage, the Indian. Now, whether the Osage Nation will have success in gaining that federal and state approval needed to operate a casino here at the lake, that still remains to be seen. But if you're a history buff and you want to see how that history plays out, we had that article from St. Louis, remember we brought up a couple of months ago, talked about some of the not so awesome practices or happenings way back when the dam was invented, or I should say created, to dam up the Osage, and some of those battles. Well, this movie kind of hits on that, and so you'll get to see some of that dialogue.
Gives you a real good background of the Osage Nation and some of the trials, challenges, things that they've had to come through over the years to be where they are now. I think a lot of people look at Osage Nation now as, they're all rich, they've got all these casinos and blah, blah, blah. And that might be true now to a large degree, but boy, they've been through hell getting to this point. From over the years, there's been a lot of bad things going on, from them being taken off their land, putting on reservations, and then this movie talks about them being taken advantage of on their reservations and stuff like that. So it is good background there, absolutely.
And it's important to pay attention and honor history. As we all know, it repeats itself.
Yeah.
And being from here at Lake of the Ozarks, there's, as I said, some ties there. All right, so as we move ahead to our favorite segment each week, it's time to talk some football. I got to start by my Tigers. An opportunity to be a letdown game after upsetting K-State.
Yeah.
They played in St. Louis at the Dome against the undefeated Memphis Tigers, and they ended up holding on. It was a pretty good Memphis team. I was kind of surprised how good Memphis looked, but Missouri, every time Memphis either took the lead or got close, Missouri seemed to have an answer. And after the win and after the rankings come out for the first time since 2019, Missouri is officially ranked in the AP poll.
How about that? And yeah, it was a good win. That is a good Memphis team. They were undefeated going into that game. And I was afraid, when I started watching the game, that was the night, Saturday night, we had big storms coming through, and I thought, man, they're going to get rained out or something. And then I thought, oh, well, yeah, they're playing in the Dome in St. Louis, which was a little bit weird. You notice it was kind of quiet and things were echoing around in the Dome. Made me miss the old St. Louis Rams who used to play in there, But great win for Mizzou and your favorite coach, Drinkwitz, and stuff like that. So how about that? Missouri is back in it. They're back relevant again.
And just announced the LSU game on the 7th, coming up a week from this Saturday, sold out now. So back-to-back home sellouts for Missouri, which hadn't happened in a while. They have one sellout. And so the program is buzzing. You see what's happening on the basketball side. Just landed the 4th overall recruit in the country out of Arkansas. Now considered right now, Missouri's basketball for the class of 24 ranked number 1 in the nation. So a lot of excitement around the University of Missouri. You look at the quarterback, Brady Cook. I love Brady Cook. He's not been a fan favorite the last year and a half, but he's starting to. Currently completing 72% of his passes for over 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns. Listen, he hasn't had a turnover this year, no picks, and it makes 10 consecutive games Brady Cook has not thrown an interception dating back to last year's bowl game. And the last time he's thrown a pick, I don't want to say this, knock on wood, was against Vanderbilt last year, and that 17-14 win. And if you look at right now, as far as QBR and quarterback rating in the SEC, Brady Cook number 2 out of all SEC quarterbacks in efficiency and QBR. Cody Schrader, the Truman State transfer, Division II, walked on, leads the SEC in rushing 4 weeks into the season, which is unbelievable. Hometown kid from St. Louis put on a show in the Dome. All three of these guys I'm talking about from St. Louis, Luther Burden, man, what a season he's having. 504 yards, averaging 16 yards a carry. He's third in the SEC in receiving yards, and right now he's being talked about as one of, if not the most prolific players in the entire country. So Missouri's got those weapons. They've got an undefeated start to the season, haven't been 4-0 since 2013, and in that year they went all the way to the SEC championship game in just their second year in the SEC.
Yeah, I remember those days. Those were great days.
Under the direction of who?
Gary Pinkel, Coach Pinkel, your favorite of all time, right?
The best, man.
And one of our best friends. He is just awesome. But yeah, it's great to see Missouri back up there in prominence, kind of like the good old days and some of their better days. And hopefully they can keep it going. Wouldn't that be something if they can go on and win their half of the SEC, maybe win the championship game, maybe play for a national championship? You never know, you know?
Really never know, because if you look at it, they got Vandy this week, LSU at home. If they could beat that LSU team, the real juggernaut on their schedule is going to be Georgia. But you remember they did the Georgia last year.
Almost beat them last year.
And if they beat an undefeated Georgia team in Athens,
yeah,
that would then allow them to have those last two games with Florida and Arkansas. And if Missouri were to somehow, I hate to get ahead of myself, but I've already had this thought, get chills thinking about it, pull off a couple of upsets that put them in the conversation to win out and potentially play in the college football playoff. And to even say that's a possibility heading into week 5 with Elijah Drinkowitz as our coach,
yeah,
starting to give the guy a little slack, because he has played really good teams close. Obviously, he can recruit, and Missouri's starting to shape up as one of the better teams in the SEC this season.
One of the things about being in the SEC, it's the hardest conference in college football by far, but if you win it, that means you're going to have a chance to play for the national championship. So, you know, that's the tough part about being in the SEC and the good part about being in the SEC, and hopefully they can compete.
I ask, really not knowing, but I'm afraid to ask because you're going to think I'm being a smart aleck. How are the Huskers doing?
Huskers, well, they've won 2 in a row, but not very good. I mean, they've beaten pretty small teams, but even for Nebraska now, that's a victory for us.
Good.
We've fallen so far. Even beating bad teams makes us happy now, so, you know.
I ask because I run into so many people that tell me that they've got ties to Nebraska and they're big Red fans, and it always makes me think of you and Mrs. Uncle C, and I'm like, man, you Nebraska fans are all over the place. But, all right. So
we haven't won anything in like 2 decades, man. It's been a long, dry spell.
But you have won something.
Yeah,
in
we
the history
do
of
have
your
a bunch of
program.
national champions.
And that's more than Missouri could say up to this point in time. But we're going to see if that changes. So on to everybody's favorite team in the entire state of Missouri. Not talking about Mizzou, talking about the Kansas City Chiefs. A little shaky through the first 2 weeks. People were wondering, but boy, did they look good Sunday. And it wasn't offensively, Chris.
Yeah.
It was defensively the Chiefs are flexing their muscles.
Yeah, and they're a big defensive guy. Bolton had to go out injured. Hopefully he'll be all right. But yeah, the defense really stepped up. It's hard to tell against the Bears because they're so bad, but it was a really nice win. Mahomes got hurt a little bit, had his ankle rolled up on, but he should be okay. But that's nice. When you get those nice, easy wins, that's a gift in the NFL, and they got a good one last week.
And they dominated. They could have had the shutout if they would have really wanted it looked like. But what I'm impressed with for the Chiefs is their offense doesn't look the same it has historically. You're seeing different names in there. Mahomes still had 3 touchdowns, and this defense through 3 weeks this season, and I know it's a small sample size, and I know that you had, like you said, the Bears, but the 4th fewest points allowed per game, which is a huge boost for a Chiefs team that over the last 5 or 6 years during this dominant run they've had, it's been the offense that has been their catalyst and has been what's allowed them to be so successful. So if this defense can come around, you know by midseason that Mahomes and the offense start gelling, they start figuring it out. That could be one of the more dangerous Chiefs teams that Andy Reid has had if this defense looks like this.
Yeah, and you know, with Andy Reid running the show, you kind of know the offense is going to be good, although I think the Chiefs receivers are down this year. I mean, we don't have like standout receivers that have stepped up so far this year, but you know the offense is going to be good. But remember a few years ago, the defense was like the worst defense in the NFL, and they had to make a coaching change, new defensive coordinator. Look at how far he has brought this Chiefs defense to where they won the Super Bowl last year with one of the youngest defenses in the league. And you just threw out some of the stats, what they're doing this year. That's one of their strengths now for the Chiefs is what they're doing on defense. I mean, it is fantastic what this team has done to turn that defense around.
And also, we can say, I agree with that. You can also say that the Kansas City Chiefs are like the most talked about NFL team in the world right now because of their tight end's girlfriend, Taylor Swift.
Man.
It's all I saw the last couple of weeks. Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy. You know, it kind of makes me sick, you know? I mean,
that it's Travis and not you?
Just show us the football. You know, I don't want to see the stupid girlfriend up in the booth with mama. You know, what is that crap? Just get rid of that. Show us some dang football, man.
The thing is it's an entertainment business. And when you take a personality, a star like Taylor Swift, I mean, she's at the same level that Michael Jackson, Elvis Presley were at for this generation. So it's such a big deal. I saw a really funny video that showed a lady, her husband gets home, and she's like, hey, look, honey, people are going to know who Travis Kelce is now. Like, he's going to be relevant because, and the husband is just like fuming, you know, and he's like, don't talk. And she goes, well, now his career is going to be catapulted and he's going to be talked about because he's dating Taylor Swift. And as a football fan, you're like, there's not a better football player in the world. So us football guys are like, man, good for you, Taylor Swift, landing, you know, the best tight end in NFL history. But the world is watching and thinking Travis is really lucky.
Yeah. Hey, I could do without any of it. Bunch of Hollywood hoes out there, you know. So that's it, you know.
Tell us how you really feel,
That's
Uncle
right.
C. Hey, one thing I want to talk about, the Bears, that you mentioned how bad they were. Do you think that Matt Eberflus is in trouble?
I do. I mean, they keep losing like that. I think even if he's doing a good job getting that team turned around, and I don't know that he is, but you can't lose like that and keep your job very often. I think he's in trouble.
The reason I ask is because he is a Gary Pinkel guy. He played for Coach Pinkel and Coach Saban at Toledo, was an All-American linebacker from 88 to 91, and then was a student assistant and graduate assistant and defensive assistant for Pinkel at Toledo till 2000, all the way till he came from 2001 to 08 with him at Mizzou, and was a great defensive coordinator. So I know he was a Missouri guy and a Gary Pinkel guy, now a head coach in the NFL, and you're like, man, you want to root for him?
Yeah, you really pull for him.
Yeah.
I kind of hope they can get it turned around. But I'm not sure he's got enough time there. I think it's systemic there. You know, a lot of those teams lose because the whole system is broken. And I think in Chicago, their system is broken.
Man, and I find that I just thought they were going to be so good. I thought Fields was going to have that big year, and it's bad. All right, we got to mention it real quick. I don't want to get you emotional or get you upset, but
Hollywood hose.
Did you see the Pick'em League again? Kitchens are dominating.
I was terrible this week. I think
cares?
I was in last place this week.
No, you were better than me, but who cares? When you look at the Kitchens, Tom and Michelle went 12-4 with 114 points. That's the most points put up in a week so far this year. Sierra also 12-4.
Their daughter,
and listen, I checked. They're not the same picks. They missed 3 games set differently, you know, so it's not the exact same picks. And she had 100 points, and then Dave finally started putting points, finished third. Overall, Sierra is cleaning up. 34-14 with 290 points. You're in second with 270, and the Kitchen's a close third with 263. Where's the rest of us?
I don't know where you guys are, but I sucked this week, man. I'll tell you what, I need to pick up my game next week. I'm getting beat by a freaking teenager, man. Sierra's beating me bad.
But she's beating everybody. She's
doing
34-14 through 48 games through the first 3 weeks. That's really hard. So kudos to Sierra Smith. And she's also doing a great job on the graphics in football.
She's doing a great job for Lake TV on high school football. It's awesome.
That's right. All right, so we don't have time to tell you about this incredible listing, the Spring Ridge home at the Villages. You got to check out the reel we've got on Facebook now, and we're shooting next week a Lotto home, so we'll get to show you that in depth. Now listed, incredible, $17 million, 14,000 square foot. It is unbelievable. We'll have a lot more, but I wanted to tell you guys, hey, some of our more popular weekly programming, a slight change in the scheduling. So Uncle Chris pulls quadruple duty for Lake TV. He doesn't schedule it, but he's the program and schedule coordinator. And so tell us about some changes.
Okay, so Cup of Coffee with Will and Chris. You'll be able to see that starting this week at 8, 2, and 8. I think before it was like 8, 2, and
8, 1, and 8.
8, 1, and 8. So it's just a little bit of a change.
We just changed it to 2 o'clock hour.
So you can see this show 8, 2, and 8. Happy Hour with DJ Kyle is going to a half hour. So you can see that at 6, noon and 6 in the morning, noon, 6 p.m. Community Spotlight Show, 9, 2, and 9. So just a little hourly change on some of those shows. Won't be a big change, but just wanted to let you know.
And on the Spotlight Show this week, catch Osage Activities Director Tom Gwynn. All right, well, that's going to do it for this week's Cup of Coffee. Until next week, my friends, thanks for watching. We'll see you then.